Imagine if India woke up one day to find 200 million of our citizens, that's our Muslim citizens, had disappeared. That dystopian trope is what Saeed Naqvi, veteran journalist, author, foreign correspondent, examines in his new play, The Muslim Vanishes. Now, of course, this is a metaphor, some would say, for the times we live in and for the phase that India is going through, where there is a kind of increasing political invisibilization, especially of the Indian Muslim. Saeed Naqvi, who has often invoked the Ganga Jamuna Tehzeeb of yore, is in a sense giving an outlet to his pain and anguish in his imagined new homeland where there are none of his fellow citizens. We'll be talking now to the author and veteran journalist on how this idea came to him. Are things really that grim that today the time has come, even though this is fictional, of course, to imagine a time where there might be no Muslims? Thank you, Said Saab. It is a pleasure to see you and to have you with us. Let me start by asking you, the metaphor is obvious, but I was struck by how the news is announced in what you write. Breaking news on television channels that have become weaponized, in fact, against so many of our minorities. So many of our channels have turned actually into religious hate mongering platforms. So, when in your imagined sort of vanishing of the Indian Muslim, that news is delivered as breaking news by television anchors, obviously there is some very sort of deliberate imagination there, so to speak.
It is. It is. In fact, I went through various gyrations on that one. First, I thought I'd just make it a straightforward, like a Dastan Goi kind of thing. But then some discussed it with friends. No, we should go to a studio and then develop the story from there. And yes, the media is very much at the back of my mind, and the media's role is, although, and it is even touched. It is even touched if you go through the script. It is media is very much there. The point is, why did I write it now? Isn't it?
Yeah,
Isn't that what is uppermost in your mind?
of
Now,
course.
to to understand that, you yourself have mentioned about my association. You know, I have been extremely optimistic. One of the people who read the book and wrote about it, a friend of mine called Clinton Bailey, he's an Israeli scholar, he's a world specialist on Bedouin cultures. He said something. He said, even though Islam is Saeed's official religion, his real faith is India. I thought that he had captured something which I value. He had captured something I value. Barkha, I am still optimistic. And the optimism sometimes wanes. Why am I optimistic? You know, why am I shall not go over my old romance with Ganga Jamna, but a little bit of it, a little flavor. करें हम किसकी पूजा करें हम किसकी पूजा और चढ़ाएं किस पे चंदन हम सनम हम दैर हम बुतखाना हम बुत हम बरहमन हम नाउ अद्वैत का एसेंस ये मुसलमान शायर है एक जगह वो कह रहा है मोर पखा सर ऊपर राखी हूं I shall wear the peacock plumes as he did. कुंज की मार गरे पहनूंगा I will wear the beads as he did. I shall take his stick and go with the cowherds in Vrindavan. मैं हर वो स्वांग करूंगी जो वो करता था मगर मैं उस बांसुरी को नहीं छूंगी उसके अधरों ने उसे छुआ है बैरन है मेरी अच्छा अब ये सेंटिमेंट कौन ला रहा है Sayyid Ibrahim Ras Khan. The reason I have to repeat it, like certain duas have to be repeated. You know, people forget this. कि हे प्रभु, तुम पत्थर को छूते हो, अहिल्या हो जाती है. When you touch a stone, it becomes ahilya. You create you create a sena, a vanar sena out of the animal kingdom. चांडाल को तुम एक इंसान बना देते हो. प्रभु, तुम्हारी कृपा मुझ पर कब होगी? Who is asking for this? Abdul Rahim Khan Khana, 5 times a day namaz praying Muslim, courtier of Akbar. But why? And in correspondence with Tulsidas. Now these are the Muslims. Look at the other side. The first poet greater than Mirani's on Karbala is a poet called Munshi Chunni Lal Dilgir. Chunni Lal from Awadh. Now he is written the tragedy of Karbala in ways which it has not been written before. Now we come to Chandrabhan. Chandrabhan Brahman, that is his title. He's a Persian poet. Can you believe it? And in Persian, there's a law, a certain rule, Barkha, कि Allah के साथ you can play pranks with God, but be careful with Muhammad. Ba Khuda Divana Basho, Ba Muhammad Hoshiyar. Chandrabhan Brahman breaks that rule. He says, Panja dar panjaye Khuda daram. मेरा हाथ खुदा के हाथ में है. पंजा दर पंजाए खुदा दारम, मंचे परवाए मुस्तफा दारम. Why should I worry about Mustafa Muhammad? Now he violates it in a Muslim court. That was the level of tolerance once upon a time, and one can go on and on. And as you know, that is why this was my life, this was my being. And where did I imbibe it? I imbibed it in my village, Mustafabad, my family, that was my first school and university, and Lucknow. What a city Lucknow was. The romance of it, people imagine. You can't imagine. If you had grown up in Lucknow, you would never have prejudice in your heart until the 60s and the 70s. Prejudice, high.
आपने बोला you are still optimistic. Does your optimism come from a
हाँ,
sense?
ये अब मैं उस पे
हाँ
आ रहा हूँ. अब
जी.
ऑप्टिमिज्म की वजह क्या थी? I started my career in 65 when I entered the portals of the statesman Barkha. This is a Pairavi ki dunya. You know, I had no Madrasi network, no Bengali network, no Punjabi network, no Brahman network, no Kayas network, no Dun school network. I had come here from Lucknow with a very fine education, terrific, the greatest schools in the world, and my parents and my home. And I came and I've traveled to 110 countries. Everything that has to be done in journalism, I have done with the help of whom? Hindus. When I write my memoirs, which are coming, 5 Punjabis, 1 Marwadi, one Kashmiri Pandit who took me around on his scooter and taught me the ABCs. He's still alive. He's still alive. Not one Muslim. There's a reason why there were no Muslims. One, because there were very few in positions of power to be able to
Yeah.
bestow these kind of favors on you, number one. Number two, those who did acquire power were extremely cautious that by doing favors to another Muslim, their so-called wanted secularism would be compromised. So they didn't
Mm.
help.
Mm.
All my life, yes. At the same time, now the point is, parallel to this was the fact that here Aruna and with my child Sabha, we don't have a house. We would go to a landlord, he would more or less come to signing but Saeed Naqvi, no house. Again, it was Kuldeep Nair, may God, he is in paradise. Kuldeep Nair, Bikram Singh, these were the people who took up the beda. They went and got me a house. So there was this competition going on. And until the 80s, late 80s, I
Mm,
have relatives in Pakistan. They used to come over and they used to say, Bhaiya, they used to envy my life. As a Muslim, it never occurred to them the Bhaiya's life. My
mm,
brother Shanne came back from Pakistan. It's a very famous line of his. He came back after meeting cousins. And he said, Biggie, I said, how is it? He said, Biggie, I'm the eldest. He said, Biggie, nice place. They're all very happy. Nice place. Too full of Muslims. Now, what was he saying? He was saying that he has grown up as I have grown up with Vinod, Ashok, Ranjit, Arun, and Zahid, and Mohammed, and Ashfaq, and everybody. We used
mm.
to go to music. We had music, which was not there so much. We had various things, which this was till the 80s, till the 80s, late 80s. And
Gee.
then you went and did something. You got them to pity me. They now fix me in a pitying gaze. It doesn't, I'm not wilted, but I'm worried. I'm bothered. That is why this book was written. I had to say certain harsh things. Harsh,
Let,
very harsh. Yes,
let's
yes,
come back therefore to the book.
yes.
What was that moment when you imagined what has been called a dystopian future? Because obviously you are not literally talking about the Indian Muslim vanishing, but you are talking about what you perceive to be a community that is being pushed to the margins. What was that? Do you remember that moment when you decided कि मुझे ये किताब ये play लिखना
It
है?
had been, since the late 60s, it had been gestating in my mind. You see, there's a word in Urdu called lihaz. I
Mhm.
don't say things to you because of lihaz, कि तुम्हें बुरा लगेगा, तुम्हें दिल ना तोड़ो किसी का. तो इसलिए politeness में बहुत सी बातें, one ended up not saying many things because one was being polite. So I said, some harsh truths have to be told. So I dream up this situation in which the Muslims are not there. And I create characters which are not me, and they are very much me, who are saying various things about the current situation. And the problem is that while everyone is willing to discuss communalism, no one is willing to discuss the basic root of communalism, which is caste, and no one wants to discuss it.
I am intrigued that you said caste. You did not say Hindutva, which is what most people would have expected you to say.
Hindutva is a means. Hindutva is a means to overcome what VP Singh did in 1989 by throwing that Mandal Commission boulder. You see, there is caste. Let us not. We don't discuss it. When elections come, every report has this jati and that jati and that jati, and then it's over, and we discuss communalism. We never discuss. We never discuss caste. Now, caste is the essence. That is the basic problem. What is the problem? I have this theory of two interlocking triangles. If I'm able to get my triangle with me, I would show it to you. That, one second, where is it? It was, anyway, I'll tell you what it is. I imagine two triangles. One triangle is the caste pyramid. Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, etc. I'm Malesh, I'm outside it. I'm a Malesha, I'm outside, but there's a caste structure. It has been exposed to Western notions of upward mobility, social justice, equity, and so on. So this is giving. This is giving. It was proceeding at what was called the Hindu rate of growth. It was proceeding. Then in 1989, this boulder of Mandal was thrown into the whole thing, and huge tsunami occurred. This tsunami had to be managed. So you had this Mandal, Kamandal, you know it, you covered all of that. In fact, no one covered it better than you. So this Mandal, Kamandal thing uh, clashed. And that then went out of spiraled while Vajpayee and Advani were there. It did not, did not allow it to spiral out of control. But remember, when Modi came, Narendra Modi, our Prime Minister, he is the first leader in Indian history, the first ever leader who, in his very first speech in Parliament in 2014, in his very first speech, he said, हमें 1200 साल की गुलामी से मुक्ति पानी है. Now, it had never been said. The decor was, the protocol was that we had all fought the battle for freedom against the British. And 200 years of foreign rule is what was recognized. Yes, they may have been. Professor K.K. Tiwari, Bihari leader, wonderful chap, congressman, he used to say, Saeed, every heart has this complaint. कि ये मुसलमानों से मुक्ति हमें 1200 साल के बाद लेनी है. He used to say that. But it was never said. Here was a member of our leader, our prime minister, who said it. That gave legitimacy to this whole Hindutva project on a scale. This then had to be handled. And in my book, I had actually brought those two props with me, and those props are just now missing. One triangle is very important, Barkha, that I explain this to you. The caste triangle. The other, to negate this, to neutralize, manage this, you have the communal triangle. What is that? India, Pakistan. Here we are. Here we are. All right, here we are. This is the caste triangle.
Yeah, hold it up a bit. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
This is the
Yeah,
caste triangle.
yeah,
And here is the
yeah. Communal triangle.
Hindu, Muslim, Srinagar, New Delhi,
G,
India, Pakistan, right?
G. Right.
These three lines of the triangle, Barkha, you touch any one of them, it's very important. You touch any one of them, and the whole triangle is affected. You see, India, Pakistan, here, India, Pakistan, Srinagar, Kashmir. Why is that important? Because beef, love jihad, hijab does not give you the returns. No. That keeps the atmosphere simmering. But the mobilization comes when communalism is tied to nationalism. 2019 result happens when Balakot happens, not because of akhlaq and beef. You follow? That is there to keep the atmosphere going.
But can I
Another
ask you
thing,
something? Can I ask you a
yes,
question? Something that has
yes,
always struck me from many years of reporting from Jammu and Kashmir and then the rest of the country is that the Indian Muslim outside of the Kashmir Valley actually has never had affiliation with the Kashmir issue. In fact, it has always been the opposite कि इस मुद्दे को लेके हमारी पेट्रियोटिज्म को क्वेश्चन किया जाता है हमें कोई इससे लेना देना नहीं है.
absolutely correct. There is that. There is, in fact, if the Kashmiri Muslim has a plaint against us, we used him. We look, this is what is happening to Kashmir. You can't keep Kashmir. Kya tha, Barkha? Again, sorry, with folded hands, to give you a little. You are absolutely right. What did I write in the 80s? What was my thesis? Indian secularism protects, among a billion others, the world's second largest Muslim population. And any issue, including Kashmir, should be touched with that sensitivity, because otherwise this would be impaired. That was the belief. I was foolish enough. I nurtured that belief until the 80s. When now what you see around us with the rise, what became, what was a, when it spiraled out of control, the Mandal Kamandal, and it became Hindutva project. You know, what my friend Arun Shori is very honest. He says, look, Saeed, you people have not studied, you've not studied RSS literature. They are doing exactly what they had said. They are going ahead with all that, and people think that somehow it is an aberration which is happening. No, this is the plan, and therefore this dismantling of the constitution is on the plan, and it is now for which there is no counter strategy. There is no counter strategy, and that is the sad moment. You're right, Barkha. The Indian Muslims used the Kashmiri problem to, whenever it rose, to solve to sort of project their lamentations, but they never took any interest. There's another fact. Don't forget, media and its explosion is a very recent thing. How would they know what is going here, and how would man in Muradabad know what is going on there?
Hmm.
This media thing, don't forget, until 1992, Babri Masjid, when it fell, there was only Doordarshan, and NDTV
Yeah.
had that news track. So this is a very new thing, new phenomena.
But
That is one.
but coming back to your play, in that
Hmm.
you actually imagine a 11 member, the equivalent of what would be called a constitutional bench, that is then to
Yes.
decide and be the arbiter, and it is not filled with judges and lawyers. It is made up of the greatest sort of poets and writers and
And seers, seers.
and seers. Talk a little bit about that. Talk a little bit
Hmm.
about that.
Well, because that is what has, according to me, what has kept this country together. Is a first half of the play, I pose the problem, of which caste is very important. You will have to discuss it. You will have to discuss it. It can't be brushed aside. That, and to neutralize the disturbances and the settlement that is taking place in the caste pyramid, you have found communalism as an answer. To put it differently, communalism is a political project. Caste is an ancient social habit. That is the way it has to, and it is projected as that in the play. In the
Yeah.
play, when it comes to this great jury, at one stage in the beginning of the play, the Muslims have disappeared and they've taken the Qutub with them, and this and that. All the jury, Maulana Hasrat Bohani, he said, "How dare you? There's nothing in this country that belongs to Muslims. If this Qutub was built, you mean to say they brought hundreds and thousands of masons from Central Asia? They were all built by Hindus and Muslims together. Everything, our music, our food, our culture, our painting, Hussein and Bindu of Raza, all of this is part of that. Again, it seems like a cliche going back to that what is called Ganga Jamni, but then that is where it is. And these seers, they bring back normalcy. They say, look, this is the way it is going to be. And but before that, something interesting has happened. The election commission in the play is split.
Hmm.
The chief election commissioner, who happens to be upper caste, he
Hmm.
wants to delay the elections because until the Muslims come back, the two others who belong to a lower caste, they say, no, you are only waiting for Muslims to come so that you can polarize and play your usual games. At the moment, this caste pyramid is simple. It is upper caste and lower caste. The lower caste will simply sweep numerically. So, in other words, so they said, no, 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 no. A Havan goes on. The Havan, where will the Havan take place? Outside the election commission office. The road is dug up. 6,000 acharyas from the country come. All the sandalwood is poured in. Black marketing in ghee goes on. And then this what are these acharyas praying for? They all are praying for, please, Muslims, come back. Because otherwise you've distorted the entire social topography of India. So it is a joke. It can the person who actually got the spirit of the play very well is a girl called Ellen Berry. She's Pulitzer Prize,
Yes,
and
yes.
you know her. She wrote. She said, after reading the play, I laughed aloud in the full knowledge that it is not funny at all.
Yeah,
That
and
I think she had.
that's what I want to ask you in the end, Said Saab. And that is this, that, we've spoken about the Hindutva project, we've spoken about VP Singh's mandalization of our country, all of that, Mandal ka Mandal. But what about the betrayal of the Indian Muslim by other players, other protagonists? There is the Hindutva project, there is the Mandal project, और जो बाकी सब हैं वो क्या कर रहे हैं? I feel that if I were Muslim today, I'm agnostic. I don't believe in institutionalized religion, but being Muslim is as much identity as it is religion. तो आपकी political options, आपकी leadership options आज क्या हैं? कौन है?
None. I'm wriggling against the pinned against the wall and wriggling. But Barkha, one very important fact we must not forget. Don't superimpose the problems of the Hindi belt on the rest of the nation. The discussion you and I are having just now will resonate differently in Thiruvananthapuram. It will resonate differently in Kozhikode. It will resonate differently in Northeast, in Kashmir. We are the exquisite variety. We are. Every currency note, Barkha, has every denomination indicated in 17 languages, many of them with classical literatures predating Christ. That is the romance of your project. And you have got it bogged down in this, what nonsense that is going on at the moment.
Yeah.
And
And
I'm pained.
yes, I can feel your pain, and I can only say that you have
कभी
channeled it
कभी
into. हाँ
कभी
जी.
कभी ऐसा लगता है बरखा कि मैं ऑप्टिमिज्म जब खोने लगता हूं तो गुस्सा आता है और मेरा भी एक तांडव का मूड होता है.
Well, there's. हाँ.
मेरा नाम मुसलमानों जैसा है. आओ मुझको कत्ल करो, मेरे घर को आग लगा दो, और वो कमरा जिसमें मैं तुलसी और सूर से सरगोशी करता हूं उसकी बेहुरमती करो, मगर ये याद रखो कि मेरी रग रग में गंगा बहती है. मेरा लहू चुल्लू में लेकर महादेव के मुंह पर फेंको और उस योगी से ये कह दो, महादेव अब ये गंगा वापस ले लो. अब ये एक मलेच्छ तुर्क के रगों में गर्म गाढ़ा लहू बन बन कर दौड़ती है. कभी 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 ऐसा लगता है, लेकिन ये एक कथारसिस, एक ये भी एक्सप्लोजन
जी.
होता है, लेकिन
जी.
फिर संभलने दे मुझे ऐ नाउमीदी, क्या कयामत है. फिर संभल जाता हूँ, फिर
और
बहला लेता हूँ.
संभल के एक बहुत मास्टरफुल आपने एक प्ले लिखा है जो really it is a masterful metaphor for our time, Said Saab. So thank you for giving us this very, very sort of seminal work, and thank you for talking to us, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Barkha. Thank you very much.
It's great to see you here. Thank you for watching our work. If you haven't subscribed yet, don't forget to click the bell icon and subscribe to Mojo Story and support independent, robust journalism.